Yes, people. What's going on? Seagull Talks Football. We're back again with another video. Today, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking to Dan. We're going to be talking to Wolfie from Forest Fan TV, and we're going to be talking about the Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal game. This is a crucial test for Arsenal, and let's see what we can do if we can pass the test versus Nottingham Forest. But before we go any further, I need you guys to do me a favor. Hit that like button on the goddamn video. Hit that subscribe button. And of course, go check out the description for the title sponsor for today's video. We do have two sponsors. We have SofaScore, and of course, we still are going to be supported by Infinity Shield VPN. So do go check those out. As of today, because that Infinity Shield VPN promo will be ending very, very soon. You guys can get a free VPN. Just go check out the link. And of course, SofaScore is a free app you can download to get caught up with all your football content. But before we go any further, please do hit the like on the video also, and let's get the show started. We got Josh in the chat already saying big up to Josh. But first, let's add the Nottingham Forest fans TV's very own, the man himself, Wolfie. I hope you're sharing this in your community. Let the people know we're live also.
Course,
but yeah, man, how you doing, Wolfie?
I'm good. I'm excited, man. I've been sick of this international break, and we ain't got another one till March, so we can focus back on proper football, as I call it, bro. Premier League, and Forest are flying, man. So I'm happy. I'm excited. Who would have thought we'd be coming into this game level on points?
Bro, who would have thought Chris Wood would turn into friggin', I don't know, Alan Shearer this season. The guy is unbelievable.
Don't get me started on him, man. I'm calling him Cristiano Woodinho now, man. He's just an absolute machine. Like, he was rubbish when he first came, and then once Nuno came in, man, he's just turned him into an absolute machine. So yeah, I'm happy, bro. I'm excited about this game. My little boy supports Arsenal as well, so it's got like personal stuff written on it. So yeah,
you're saying it's personal.
It's personal.
Let's see how things go. Yeah, once the game starts. But before we go any further, Dan will be joining us any moment now. But I'm just gonna ask you, how is Forest doing this right now? How are you guys doing so well? Like, what changed to cause Nottingham Forest to just be doing so well this season? Because it kind of caught me off surprise. Some people had your manager to be one of the first managers to be sacked, and now it seems like, forget about being sacked, he could be arguably one of the managers of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And people had us to go down this season as well. Favorites to go down. People were saying Ipswich will stay up, Forest will go down, and what have you. But the change, bro, I'd say, like, you can attribute it to a few people. Like, Nuno has to take huge credit. He inherited our team last season. We had the PSR points deductions going on. He took over from Steve Cooper. And then everyone talks about our recruitment process. Oh, Forest are buying 6 million players. You know, what you doing? Da-da-da. Everything kind of calmed itself down in the summer. Nuno took control. The recruitment was fantastic. He got the players organized. He sorted out the defense, which was our major issue from like set pieces and stuff. And now I think we have the second best defense in the league in terms of goals conceded. And he's just built his philosophy into the team, and they're enacting it out. And honestly, away from home especially, I feel confident going into any game right now, bro. It reminds me of the good old days under Frank Clark, where we finished third in the league, in the Premier League and what have you. But yeah, I give a lot of the credit to Nuno. I always give credit to Marinakis because he's funding this. And I got to say, the players as well are doing a fantastic job, bro.
Before we go any further, I just want to say Nottingham Forest have been impressive this season. Under Nuno and Espírito Santos, away from home, particularly, I think you're unbeaten away from home.
Yep.
Or away from home, you're unbeaten.
Yep.
Wow.
There's only two teams, bro. Forest and Liverpool in Europe.
And you guys are one of the teams that beat Liverpool also. But before we go any further, we also got Dan in the building. Welcome, Dan. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, Dan.
Big up, Wolfie. Big up to everybody in the chat. Make sure you're liking the thing, subscribing. Big up to both of you. Great to see you, man. Hope you're all well.
There you go. Let's do it this way. This works. So you're the home team, you're the away team. That works perfectly.
Are you gonna ref me and Dan? Is that way?
Mate,
I don't-
it's musical
I
chairs,
think-
Wolfie. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think Dan's gonna have to ref me. What do you mean? I'm the one that's
Should I get in between you two when we start talking like Arteta and stuff?
But before we go any further, we're kind of just talking about Dan. We're just before you came, we're talking about Nottingham Forest's impressive form.
Yeah, I was listening, bro.
Nuno, Espírito Santos, unbeaten at home particularly, and also they beat Liverpool. I mean, away from home. I mean, unbeaten away from. Is it away from home?
Yeah, away. Yeah.
Unbeaten away from home on the road. They're going to be traveling to the Emirates Stadium away from home. They were the only team to beat Liverpool this season, if I'm not mistaken, and they would try to be probably doing the same thing, catch us on the counter and play really good defensive football. But yeah, what do you think, Dan? Are you worried? This is a big test for us.
Yeah,
we need to pass.
I am worried. I don't know how much people have spoken to me about or listened to me about what I think about this game. I'm not confident, bro. I'm not confident, bro. I'm not. I look at how we're playing, I look at how they're playing, and I can't sit there and start throwing my weight around and telling Forest fans we're going to be fine, because I don't know what we're going to get from Arsenal, but I do know what we're going to get from Forest. They've been really impressive, man. I suppose the only kind of chink in the armor is to say that, or maybe not even so much that, look, they lost to Newcastle, right? So they're not going to be an unbelievable kind of, oh my God, we've got this confidence, we haven't lost yet, and with this, that, and the third. Obviously, Newcastle beating them was probably something that they can say they were disappointed about, but the rest of the season, they've been on fire. Like, to the point where you actually consider right now putting a lot of Nottingham Forest players in the team of the season so far. Like, I've done that with people on streams, and I've done it on my streams, where I've looked at Sells and Ayana, and I've looked at Milenkovic as one of the signings of the season. I've looked at Murillo. I think Gibbs White's always been a baller, to be fair. Chris Wood, I heard you mentioning him. He's been phenomenal, as has Hudson-Odoi and Elanga, you know, the pace. So they got players that can really hurt us, man. It's not like when you look at Forest and think, keep him quiet, the rest we should be all right. There's a few now that Forest have got. And also, like, got a little bit of egg on my face, because I thought this might this season that they drop, you know, this season. I just felt like I wasn't too impressed by Nuno when he first come in. A lot of people were saying he was going to probably get the chop if it weren't going to start out well. They clearly always had the players there, right? Because, I mean, under Cooper, they went and bought about 35 youths, do you know what I'm saying? So they've always had players there. But I think Carragher put them going down. Myself and Lee Judges had them going down. It's a couple of people on top,
Lee
man.
As well.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, man, that said Forest down. And I will say this, I didn't want them to go down, because I think Forest are really good for the league. I've always been really, really kind of consistent with that. I want Forest to stay up. They're a huge club. And you look at the heritage of the football club, they are massive. And I think they're good for the Premier League. But I just had to be real. I fancied Leicester, Southampton and Forest for the drop. And some of that was biased towards my Ipswich love, because I've got a bit of a love for Ipswich. But I can't see them staying up. I think they're going to be for the drop. But Forest, let's be real, they ain't going down. They're going nowhere. They're going forwards. And that's why I'm not looking forward to this one again tomorrow. And it's going to be wet and windy and rainy. I'm going to be soaked. It's just one of those weekends, man. It ain't going to be a fun one, I don't think. But we'll see.
Are you going to be sitting right on the carpet? Is that why?
Yeah, bro. My seat is row 8, which means that I either get, or row 8, row 9, which that is the rows that you keep dry, get a little bit wet, keep dry, get a little bit wet. It's kind of that. So I ain't looking forward to it. And the Emirates roof is not great. I mean, we take the mick out of Old Trafford, but it's better than that. But it's not that great. You do get a bit wet. So
hey, as long as you're not on the opposite side where the cannon is, that's where you get the worst.
Yeah, no, I'm not there. No.
Wolfie, I was gonna ask you actually. What people are asking for a combined 11 with Forest? Come on, let's not do that. Let's not take the piss now.
Bro,
how many?
We did it on form. I bet if we did it on form, it'd be interesting, though.
Are you serious? You guys really think how many Forest players would actually get into the Arsenal team? Dan?
Bro, I had to convince Hooks of some of your players getting in, man. That's how bad it was. I
think they've got a shout. I think they've got a shout for a few this season on
Chris
form.
Wood, maybe.
Yeah, that's a definite.
Bro, Chris Wood, Einar, Milenkovic. You could argue Sells, Callum Hudson-Odoi. You could look at Morgan Gibbs-White being in there. There's at least 4 or 5 there. I'd say Murillo.
I can't disagree. I think Yeah.
Murillo doesn't get in over Saliba or Gabriel. Let's be honest. He's a good centre back, but he's
Their,
not.
key, their keeper's been good, but Raya's been good. So that's really tough. But I think that Sells has been quality. Ayana, I think, gets in. He's been quality. Murillo and Milenkovic have been superb. You can argue Gabriel and Saliba. I don't think Saliba and Gabriel this season have been like levels. But other than that,
I think Gabriel's been better than Saliba this season for me.
Yeah,
he has. He has. He not only with the goal contributions, but defensively also, I would say he's been better this season.
Yeah.
Saliba got
Saka's the only one that gets in the front four, Regal. Let's just have it right. Saka's the only one we can put forward.
Yeah. You would put Odegaard as well, but he's been out, isn't it? It
Yeah,
depends if he's saying on form or on playing, you know.
If we're gonna,
it's hard, Regal. You say it. It's hard though, bro. Like front four.
Okay. I'm not going to do the delusional thing where I say it's a whole Arsenal team, but I do think besides Chris Wood and maybe Morgan Gibbs-White, I don't think anyone else gets in.
Bro, then you haven't seen our defense.
Maybe your left back. What's your left back? Ayana?
No,
Moreno.
He's right back. Yeah,
Moreno.
but it's Alex Moreno, the one out from Villa. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe Alex Moreno gets in, but outside of those three, I don't know where else.
What you
need to see our centre backs, bro.
What?
That's why I love Potts. He knows his stuff, man. He knows his stuff. Milenkovic and Murillo are, for me, the best pairing in the Premier League. Don't give me Saliba.
On the left-hand side.
I'm saying the two centre-backs. Our two centre-backs are unreal. Unreal.
You think they're better than Gabriel and Saliba?
On form, yes. On form, yes. And my argument for it is that we face more attacking threats than an Arsenal team or a Liverpool team would. Yeah, those would be the three pairings you look at. Your pairing, Virgil and Konate, and our pairing. We face more attacks against us than you guys would, and we've got a better defensive record than you. That would be my argument for it, boys. And you'll see it on set. Well, hopefully I don't jinx them. But honestly, Milenkovic, he just reminds me of Vidic. He really does. He's that good. And Murillo is just a baller. I know I'm overdoing it, but I know Potts agrees with me to certain elements about what I'm saying. Obviously not with my red tinted goggles, but those two are part of the reason why we are where we are this season.
Fair enough. Just before we go any further, big up Crypto FFTV. Is that your friend?
One of my boys, yeah.
Big up to him. He's saying Nuno wasn't gonna get the chop. Only Lee Chappie is getting the chop. Big up Lee Chappie, Leicester fan, right?
Big up Chappie.
Big up Chappie, man. I haven't heard much from him this season.
That's because he did get the chop.
There you go. But I don't even know what that means. But hey,
you don't want to know, bro. You don't.
Let's not go there.
I thought he meant relegation. Anyways, enough said. I don't want to think about that. Before we go any further, I was just gonna say, is there anybody who you take from Forest, Dan, who you'd actually look at potentially going to purchase?
Yeah, I'd take Morgan Gibbs-White. I'd take Murillo. And I would probably look at Hudson-Odoi, as backup. I think he's a quality player. Yeah, I think he's quality. Always liked him at Chelsea, to be fair.
At this point, I don't think Forest are a selling club. The money that they've invested in their team, I don't think they're willing to sell any of those players right now. Because in the past, it seemed like you guys were a selling club. But now, if Arsenal came knocking for Murillo, say Saliba left tomorrow and we came for Murillo, you guys would ask for 70 million, apparently.
Well, yeah, you did. We've had Arsenal, who else was there? Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barca, PSG, all trying to get Murillo. And there's still talks about him being linked in January. And Forest are under no pressure to sell him now, because it's the whole FFP thing, isn't it? That's all sorted now. But Forest are in a position of power with our big name players, because we've got them on long-term contracts. So unless the player is gonna force the issue, then Forest won't sell unless the price is what Forest are willing to accept. So it has changed a lot. This was not Forest 4 or 5 years ago, mate, at all.
Murillo looks a baller, man. But that Milenkovic has been unreal, man.
If Murillo is worth 70 million, Saliba must be worth at least 120 then.
Yeah, well, he is though, isn't he? Saliba's a monster, but I don't want to think about him going. If Murillo and Saliba are both linked with Real Madrid, that's not good.
Yeah,
Because
because
they've
Real
got
Madrid have got a crisis, Dan, in their defense, haven't they, with their
defensively, they
injuries? I
have.
think, is it Rudiger's their only fit centre back right now?
Bro,
So
they're
they're
playing
desperate to get in
midfielders in
Jan.
defense now. They're playing midfielders in
Yeah,
defense now.
yeah.
Yeah, it's crisis mode for them, man. Like Real Madrid players, though, we're looking at a couple of them. I'm sure we'll come on to that later. But yeah, look, as for Forest, I think they might not. They might not, if we have everyone fit and they're flying at Arsenal. We might not get all of these Forest players in, but there's a couple that we would 100% take. Murillo, definitely. We don't really have cover for Saliba or Gabriel, if I'm honest. Kivior's just a bit meh, and all the others are fullbacks that have to play centre back. Hudson-Odoi at the moment this season is better than Martinelli, like in my opinion. I think Martinelli's fallen off a cliff. And then obviously you've got Morgan Gibbs-White, who, I'd love at Arsenal this season if Ødegaard was injured for this long. He would have slotted in perfectly. So there's 3 players there that would happily join our squad, man. So I think they've got a great side as far as...
You say that, but I think Martinelli still has more goal involvements than Callum Hudson-Odoi.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the
Hudson-Odoi's got 4 goals this season and a couple of assists. I don't know what Martinelli's on.
Not that. Surely. What's Martinelli got?
I don't know. I think we're sort of changing Martinelli. I forget exactly. I need to search it. What's Gabby Martinelli on? You know what it is? Martinelli's had a situation where he had such a good season 2 years ago.
One goal.
What?
Oh, no, sorry. I'm looking at the Brazil. Sorry. 3 goals, 2 assists he's got.
And he scored in the Champions League, if I'm not mistaken.
Are you talking in general, not just the league? Is that what you're saying?
No, in the league specifically, he has.
No, you are right. You are actually right.
In the league specifically, he has 5 goal involvements. What about Callum Hudson-Odoi?
Yeah, he's only got 2. Callum Hudson-Odoi, 2 goals. That's fair. That's fair. But still, what?
I dreamt a couple.
I'm only looking at the.
A couple.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Martinelli being on 3 goals and having 2 assists. We want more from him. We expect more from him. Callum
He hasn't played in every game.
Callum Hudson-Odoi's performances versus Liverpool is so memorable. I don't think Martinelli has had a performance that good.
Yeah, but I do think the Arsenal fan base is harsh on Martinelli. I get he's been out of form. And the standards he did, 2 years ago, that's when he was peaking for me. And I think you guys, rightly so, wanted him to kick on. And you didn't see that kick on. And then when Trossard came in, I thought Trossard as an impact sub has been really good for Arsenal. And that's almost shown up what Martinelli's been lacking in the last, I'd say, 12 months. But there's still a quality player in there. I mean, once he gets a run going, he'll do just fine.
Yeah, another one of your people's saying Fabio panel. Great to see Wolfie spreading the word. Bro, you're the ambassador for the Nottingham Forest fan base.
These are my minions, mate.
There you go.
I'll piss them off now.
But you're still taking Callum Hudson-Odoi over Martinelli, apparently.
I would take Martinelli, no, because I think he in terms of overall, I just felt this season Hudson-Odoi has been really good, but the stats prove that he hasn't been scoring and assisting, but he has been quality. Wolfie might be able to tell me. Yeah. I think he's been.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, from what I've seen, and I only watch Forest glimpses. I don't watch him like I do Arsenal. Martinelli's frustrated me this season, if I'm honest. And I know that he scored goals and assisted, but come on, let's be real.
So has Trossard, Declan Rice, Saliba, everybody.
Too many, man.
Because we can't afford to drop points in any games. We're level on points with Forest, and we're looking at it as like a little bit of an insult on ourselves. On based on how we've started the season, but Forest are looking at it as their best start to the season in a long time. So you got to give them credit, but at the same time, we have to look at ourselves and say, yeah, you know what, we're not doing good enough. But I still don't think we should be comparing our 11 to Forest. Forest, we still have a much better 11. They're just playing a lot better, more informed.
You have a better squad, agreed, but it's the question of, are you doing it on reputation, form, or expectancy? On the players, do you know what I mean? On form, I would say Forest have more informed players going through at the moment, and the results have shown that. Yes, we are level on points, but on expectancy and what your players should be doing, then yes, the quality is 100% there. So it's an interesting one, but you can't just. Everyone's having good and bad seasons in patches. Man City, 4 losses in a row across all competitions. You know,
Mm.
the only team that's been fully consistent, in my opinion, this season has been Liverpool. You know, and I don't like to say it, but that's been the case. It's
And you
made,
guys
it's
beat
made the
them.
league exciting, and we beat them exactly. And this is where I think you guys need to learn off what Liverpool did, because the arrogance of that fan base before the match, it was a question of how many, not that they were going to win. And they
Yeah.
came and they tried to, they literally played into our hands. So I feel that if Arsenal try that similar approach, I've been hearing a lot about the reset. You know, this is the reset, the international break reset. Everything that happens before is forgotten. And suddenly it's as if you guys have gone to Dubai again and you're coming back and there's this reset.
Wolfie, I'll say this. Arsenal fans are respecting Forest. They're not going into this game disrespecting Forest. And I'll take it to the level where people are saying some Arsenal fans are going to this game thinking we're going to drop points. Dan, you probably heard it on midweek. You probably heard on other channels. You probably see it in the comment section. But Arsenal struggles to start the season is the next topic we're going to discuss anyways.
But Gal, just on that point, sorry, bro, just say that will help you. Do you know what I mean? It's the arrogance isn't there that we saw from the Liverpool fan base. There's the acknowledgement of the danger, of the potential. I think that helps you.
But that has also led to us being more defensive this season and being a little bit more cowardice, and which has been a heavy criticism of Arsenal. Now, before we go any further, I'm just going to read the super chat, then we'll go to Dan. I dare say Awani shouldn't start ahead of Chris Wood based on history of scoring against Arsenal. Don't tell any other Forest fans I said that. Really?
Yeah, he scored a lot against you. I think he scored in the last 3 games against you. His goal last season's memorable, where he kind of bullied Saliba off the ball. I hadn't seen Saliba get turned at all.
We checked out mentally in that game. Let's be honest. The home game?
No. We beat him 2-1. Beat him away.
No, I mean the game at the end of the season when we lost to them, the year where.
That one we did tap out. I was there, unfortunately. That one we did tap out. We lost 1-0. But the one last year we won. But Awani scored a really good goal. He just bullied Saliba. And they lost 2-1, but he still scored. But Chris Wood's going to play, man. Let's not do this. Like, you can't drop him.
I've heard a rumor, Dan. I've heard a rumor of some people I know saying that Chris Wood may be dropped for Taiwo on this one. I haven't been able to verify it, but I don't know. I don't know if it's because he's been to New Zealand on international duty, maybe he's still not, fully sharp and what have you. I would be surprised, but I have heard that rumor. I've heard Morgan Gibbs-White's got a knock as well. But you always get these rumors coming out 24 hours before a match. Yeah.
You know what? I think, Dan, everyone knows your opinions on Arsenal's start to the season. You spoke about the Real Madrid thing for a second. Did you really want to speak about that? Because I kind of look at them as nothing stories.
Oh, yeah, no, I was only bringing it up because Real Madrid were mentioned. I mean, this international break, we're going to get rumours about players, Diaz and Arda. To be fair, you actually brought up Arda. You must have been excited by that. You've been telling me for months that you wanted this guy. And now we're finally being linked with him. But I don't know if it's a load of waffle. I know they're talking about the Erdegaard scenario being very similar if we get him on loan and then we try and purchase him. I know he's not playing at the moment, but you're not good ahead of those names, are you? Let's be real. So, yeah, I don't know how much that is to do with it. On our start to the season, you know what my thoughts are. I think it's been shambolic. I think the window's been shocking, and I think it's proven that. I understand that we've had injury problems, we've had red cards, and referees have been bad. But if I'm honest with you, I ain't using that as an excuse for our games. We should be winning those games, even with injuries, suspensions, and bad refereeing decisions. And we're not. We've been poor. And I don't look at the style of Mikel Arteta and think it's working. And I hope that he's not going to be Arsene Wenger stubborn and not change it, because I think we've got the ability to play very good football. We've got the players that can play very good football. They're all back now. I saw in the interview today that there's players he suggested that are injured that are still not quite ready, but there's those that are fit. And let's be real, we've pretty much got our full fit squad back now. So with Erdegaard in there, Martinelli and Saka either side, Havertz, who needs to stay as a 9. I want to see our midfield definitely improve, because Igao has been shocking, really bad. When Partey's your best midfielder and we were expecting him to be playing 15, 20 games this season, you got problems. And defensively, that's affected us as well, because we've been nowhere near as resolute. So I need to see it change. I don't think it will this weekend, and I'll come to my prediction in a minute. But I do feel like we will go on a run from now until the new year. I just don't think it's going to be win the whole way through, unfortunately, because I just don't think we're playing well enough, bro.
It's refreshing to hear that, Dan, because I'm looking behind you. I see Bergkamp shirt. I see Henri. I see, the retro shirt there. They had standards then.
Yeah.
And now I feel like there's a section of the fan, it may be the younger generation who are just accepting this because it's better than what you saw 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, I know. And I just say, go on and go.
I don't think I'm just accepting. I think I'm being realistic. I don't think there's a divine right for any team to win. I think every team feels like their team has a divine right to win across the top 6. I look at Manchester United, their fans speak about their team as if they should win the league every year. I hear it from Chelsea fans. I hear it from Man City fans now because they've won it for a couple of years in a row. And I hear it from Liverpool fans. And I just come from the world in which I believe that you're not going to win the league every year. You're not going to compete to win the league every year. And sometimes your team is going to have a cycle. And if you don't capitalize on that cycle, then you're going to be in a situation where you're left in nearly men. And I'm worried at this moment in time. And as much as you're talking about standards, to be honest, I don't think the same as other fans because I grew up in a different environment. And I think I'm a little bit more patient and I am a little bit more understanding and happy about where we are. But best believe I want to win. I don't want us to come out of this Mikel Arteta reign with no silverware and no league title or Champions League. But if we do and we don't end up maintaining this level and we drop off, I'll be the first one at the beginning yelling and screaming. But I don't think I need to yell and scream about every little thing across the way.
Yeah, bro, I think you're too accepting of it. I'm not saying fans have the right to have a divine right to a title. But fans do have a right to hold their club to standards. And your standards will differ from us to Arsenal to Man City or whatever. And I just don't see it as someone who enjoyed watching that invincible era under Wenger. And I hear now all this stuff. Yeah, but there's Pep there. Pep's there. Who can win anything with Pep there? Well, wasn't Fergie there at Manchester United when Wenger was beating him? Didn't Klopp beat Pep? Isn't Slot now, who's been in the job for a couple of months, ahead of Pep? A good few points ahead of Pep. All this trust the process stuff is just stalling tactics. I think the younger generation are buying into it in the Arsenal fan base. And you need to hold your club to better standards. We have it in our club. When Forest came up, majority of the fan base are like, right, just avoid relegation, avoid relegation. This season, there are Forest fans who would be happy with 17th. I remember the Frank Clark days when we were 3rd. I have older friends who remember the European trophy days. Yeah. Yes, there's a progression to it. I'm not saying Forest needed to get promoted and win the league, but you have to hold your club to standards.
I do to a certain degree. Like the last couple of years,
but not like Dan does. Dan, I got a shout out down for it. He holds it to those standards.
Yeah, Dan is a little bit more. I don't know how to say it. Maybe he's a little bit more pessimistic than I am. I'm a little bit more of an optimist. So I don't think everything's going to be as bad. But when there is situations that I was wrong on, I put my hand up and I say they need to fix up. Like if you've seen my rant on his show on Tuesday, I was going in on Edu and Arteta on how they've ran the club to a certain degree because I disagree with some of the things that they've done. And I do think if we took a Nottingham Forest approach to the transfer window, we would have all our holes fixed. But maybe then we would be in FFP problems. I don't know.
Well, they've now got Edu, so they're in trouble with Gouge, I mean.
Yeah,
so you told me the other week.
You know what? Let's take a second on that. Dan, what do you say to the Nottingham Forest fans that have Edu now? Do you think they're gonna be like, you're gonna warn them of Edu, or are you gonna be like, you got a good guy?
Yeah, well, I was with Wolfie the other day. It must be a couple of weeks ago now. Went on the show, and big up to him and for having me. And we were chatting about it, and I know you're not actually a massive fan. I don't know where Brandon was getting it. Brandon was trying to say that you liked Edu, but I remember you saying that you weren't a fan of him, Miguel, to be fair. Not so much Arteta. Certainly you've been a big fan of him, but Edu is certainly someone you weren't massively a fan of. And I had to say again.
Edu was burning the food during the cookouts. That's what he was doing.
He was burning toast, mate, let alone meat and veg. But yeah, bruv, I don't think that is a move that Forest fans should be getting too excited about, because I do think that as much as Edu's done some good business at Arsenal with players. He's also done some shambolic business. And if I'm honest, people say it's 50-50. I'd actually say it's 70-30 in favour against how many he's brought in. Because if you look at some of the players that are no longer at the club that people forget about, like Marquinhos and Lokonga and Tavares, and players like Pablo Mari and Cedric, players like Fabio Vieira, they were all Edu's guys and they've been shambolic. And there's only really Martinelli that you can look at that he's picked out and plucked out from Brazil. Declan Rice, I understand that he had a bit of a say in, but let's be real, once that kind of deal was pulled out, it was quite easy to get done, and we were still negotiating it for what felt like forever. And then there's been deals this season that he was a part of that just dragged on. I mean, how long did it take us to sign Marino and Calafiori? I mean, we were linked with them for months. It actually got boring by the time we'd signed them. Do you know, it was like
Where's your number 9, Dan? Where's your number 9?
Brother, I've been crying out for one for 5 years. I don't know where we're going to get one. I don't think Arteta wants one, if I'm honest with you, because surely we would have one by now. But yeah, look, I think there's a lot that he's done that is questionable at the club, and I think what he actually genuinely wants to do is oversee football. I don't think he wants to be the scout that says, go and get this guy. And I think that's why he's moved to Forest. So he might get a different Edu at Forest. It might be that actually take me away from the player side of things. I want to oversee things more. And it might work for you. I don't know.
Edu's coming to be the CEO of a multi-program, a multi-club system.
Exactly.
His ambition was to get a better position than what he currently has. And at Arsenal,
and more of that as well.
Yeah, you guys tripled his wages. And at Arsenal, they basically told him there's no room for progression. You're kind of capped here. So I hear it, and people saying, you know what, Forest are doing good things. But before we go into anything else, I just want to say, did you guys see Nottingham Forest was one of the people who voted in the ATP? You must feel like you took an L today without even playing.
I'm okay with it, man, because I look at the clubs that did it as well. You got Villa, Newcastle, and Man City. Okay, Man City, we all know are corrupt. But Newcastle, Villa, and Forest, I look at it and see these are clubs that have ambition. These are clubs that have got big money behind them. You know, Marinakis is a billionaire. He wants to invest more in Forest. And these sponsorship deals, man, I mean, they've been going on since I remember football. Yeah, all these dodgy deals. It's just they've clamped down now on everything. So I'm not fussed about that stuff. I'll be honest with you, Gal, man. As long as we're winning on the pitch, I don't care if Edu's in there, you're in there, or whatever. If the performances are happening on the pitch, that's my number one concern. I mean, I remember when you guys were protesting against the Cronkiers, and then they started spending money 2 years ago. None of you were talking about the Cronkiers because, you know, you were producing on the pitch and you should have won the league. And that's the right way. If it's happening on the pitch, who gives a damn who's in charge?
Facts. You know what? I agree with you there. But just to talk about the ATP quickly, I do think this is a massive change in the sense that they've now officially made it where there needs to be approval and amendments to the third
what
party
happened today
rules.
with Man City?
What happened is there was a 16 to out of 20 vote to amend the associated third party rules. So that means, for example, Newcastle or Chelsea or anybody who wants to get a shirt sponsor, they have to abide by certain rules, and they can't get somebody who they're affiliated with directly to sponsor their shirt.
That's right though.
But you know what Newcastle wanted to do? They wanted to go get Saudi Airways, and for example, Chelsea wanted to get Paramount, which was connected to Clearlake or somehow. And then you have Aston Villa, who's also has a lot of money. Nottingham Forest, who also has a lot of money, and Man City, who's also saying that this rule in the first place is non-competitional.
The biggest worry about it is that they've rushed these rules through. I mean, the hearing was only, I think, October time, and they've just rewritten the rules in a month. You know,
it went to a court case, and this has been voted by the 20 clubs. Unfortunately,
yeah, I know. But what I'm saying, the hearing from Man City that finished, I think it was the 6th or 7th of October. They both claimed they won on that hearing. Sure. And then what happened was the Premier League were like, all right, we're just going to close the loopholes and write it. And within a month, they've done it. Changes of rules like this usually take months, if not years.
Like what Lucas said in the chat.
The majority of the clubs agreed.
As long as that's true, what Luke Mudway has said, I agree with that. As long as there's fine by doing sponsorships, but it needs to be a fair market value. basically what Luke's saying. And I think that for me is fine. Like, otherwise you're going to get Newcastle say, right, got to get these sponsors. They're going to give us 300 billion every year. Do you know what I mean? Like, and there's nothing you can do about it. So there needs to be that put in place. As long as that's cool.
I think the main reason they put it in place is because of Newcastle, and people are saying it's racist.
Yeah, they came in 3 days after Newcastle were taken over,
which is crazy.
But you know something? The clubs are going to protect their best interests, and if somebody comes in and pumps in a ridiculous amount of money in Newcastle right away and gets them spending to the level of a Man City, Real Madrid, and Barcelona, for example, although Barcelona don't have that much money right now, it would be like a completely unfair advantage right away. They have more money than
like that, bro.
They have more money than every owner in the club combined, bro.
It doesn't matter. For me, it doesn't matter. Look at who's a good Manchester United. How much have they spent in the last 10 years? Yeah,
but
over $1 billion.
They have the fan base and the money that they bring in to be allowed to spend that.
Forget the fan base. I'm talking about the actual money. Yeah, they have the money to spend. Has that bought them major titles? No, it hasn't.
No, but what it has done, when they make a mistake, they can still go and correct it by signing another player. Where
they still haven't corrected it, bro.
Where Everton, if they make 2 mistakes, they're kind of fucked for a couple months or to a year. Couple years. Where Arsenal, we make 1 mistake, we need to filter that player out before the end of their contract, and we struggle to do that. Yeah. What else is there? Nottingham Forest right now. You signed so many players, it kept you up. But imagine if you got relegated with some of these players that you signed, you would be struggling for years to try to figure out how you're going to balance the books.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about it again, back to the football level. Just because you spend the most money on a player, look how much you guys spent on Pepe. Yeah, 70-odd million. That exactly. Just because his valuation is X does not mean he will give you Y on the pitch. That's my point on it. So if Newcastle wanted to open the taps up and spend big, let them spend big. Why are we suddenly limiting?
There's 2 things. One, you're protecting clubs from owners that come in and get heavy receipts and a lot of bills, and then when it's time to pay the bills, they say, you know what, turn off the lights. That's happened in the past.
Yeah, I know, but you're going into like the legal side of it and stuff. There's ways around it. You could do bond protection at the start of the season. Owners come in.
Look at Portsmouth back in the day. They literally went and spent a lot of money, bought in a bunch of players, and they're like, you know what? It's not working. We're still going to get relegated. Forget about it. We're not giving no more money. And then the club went to shit. And then you've seen since then
20, 30 years ago, bro. It's different.
That's the worry. Also, Man City, if it wasn't for the sheikhs coming in and purchasing the club for so cheap, the guy who owned it before them couldn't afford it anymore. Because he came in, he thought it was his toy. He was going to be like Roman. But yeah, I am not Arteta out, by the way. Anybody who's asking that, I still believe in the club. I still believe in the manager. So don't come here thinking I'm Arteta out for any reason.
Where are you on him, Dan? Are you playing?
Ask me in May. If he's doing that, cool. If not, then get out. Simple. Yeah. That's the way I'm at. I hate all this like in and out, shake it all about. I just want to see some winning mentality at the club and silverware now. I think we've waited long enough, 5 years in, and if this team can't do it, the one that he's built, then give it to someone else, see if they can build a team. Like, it's simple for me. Like, don't know why people are so like grey with it still. Surely it's black and white now. Win us a trophy, or clearly you ain't the right guy to win us a trophy. Because like people might say this team ain't good enough to win the league, and I'm cool with that because I actually think Manchester City have got a better squad than us, and I actually think that Liverpool at the moment are showing that their squad's very capable of winning the league. Right? But I look at it right now and think, do you know what? This squad's definitely good enough to win a trophy. And if you can't win a trophy in 5 years with £700 million spent, you ain't the guy. So get out and we'll get someone in who can. But he's staying, whatever. It doesn't matter what I think, Wolfie. He's staying. He'll be here for 5-6 years easily, maybe even another 10. Because our owners don't give a damn. They're just not ambitious enough. So they're happy with top 4.
I was speaking to Tom, and I'm starting to hear stuff like there is a deadline. I'm not saying he reported it or anything.
When is that? 2039?
He's like the end of his. He's like Arsenal's not going to renew his contract if he doesn't start delivering.
How long is his contract?
His contract right now is 2 more years.
He's not properly signed though yet, has he?
He's not signed it. Yeah, you're right.
There's rumors that he probably has signed it. But if I'm him, real talk, we don't win something, just walk. Like Gareth Southgate did. Just go, do you know what? I'm done. I'll go do something else. Like, don't sign a new deal in like March when we're 4 points off the top still. Just see what you do at the end of this season, Mikel, and have some pride and walk if you believe you've underachieved. I would have so much respect for him if he did that.
Dan, you know the club. They're waiting for a great PR moment to drop it.
Well, if we start playing better then, brother, because they ain't going to drop it yet. That's for sure.
If we go back to top of the league, immediately they're dropping that news. It's just how they do. I don't know, Wolfie.
Do you think he's signed already? Do you think he has signed already?
I think he's signed, bro. I think he's
because
the way that they're talking about summer, everything. We're not doing nothing in January, by the way, Wolfie. Everything's about the summer. You guys are probably going to do more than us in this January window. I have no faith in my club doing anything.
But it's not the owners, apparently. That Wolfie Gal reckons it's not the owners. No, we're not doing anything in January, but it's not the owners.
No, I believe the owners are willing to give the guys money. These guys are just saying to themselves, unless it's the right person, the right personality, the right money, the right hairstyle, they're not signing him. That's just how I think it is.
Bro, Gal, you're too happy clappy, bro. If I'm being honest with you. It's like you can't say
always sunshine. It's always sunshine with it, Gal. It's always sunshine.
Yeah, bro, you can't say it. And I mean it with love. Love. I'm just an outsider looking in.
Criticism. Don't think for a second I'm protecting them. I disagree with that. I think they should go.
You don't sound angered by it. Yeah. If Forest were not to strengthen in January, and we're not going for a title this season, yeah, as much as I'd love to believe it, I'd be angry at my owner who I love. Yeah, it would be anger. Yeah, I'd have frustration. Whereas I just felt what you said there is kind of just very relaxed.
It's acceptance.
It's acceptance. It's acceptance is probably the word I'd use.
Bro, I'm more worried about seeing other teams strengthening in the same window that we could, and I don't think we will.
So where's your anger? Where's your anger?
You know something? I have other things to worry about right now. I'm not going to get too angry yet. I need to see it because maybe they can prove me wrong. But let's look at this quickly. This is the predicted 11 for the game. I think this is going to be as close to our starting 11, but Saka is going to be in instead of Sterling. It's confirmed too. Saka is going to be ready. I don't know why they have Sterling in there.
Where's Sterling in there? What's he in there for?
I don't know. They've lost the plot. They've lost the plot. But everything else is the same.
Declan Rice as well.
Declan Rice is going to be ready, but Moreno's probably going to start. Saka's going to be ready, and Saka's probably going to start. Raheem Sterling is not going to start. Even if Saka is not available, Jesus is going to start on the right. There is no way in hell we're starting Raheem Sterling.
Good, because he scores against us. As shit as I think he is, he always scores against us. So I'm happy.
He's not been good. He
ain't going to this time, Wolfie. Trust me.
Yeah, he's not been a good time. What about your team? Is this messy for you also?
I would say Ward-Prowse won't start. I think Dominguez will be where Ward-Prowse is, and probably Elanga where Dominguez is.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Now Elanga, I'm not sold on, boys.
He's pacey though, isn't he? He's pacey.
He's a pace merchant, Dan. He's just not confident at all. He won't take a player on the outside. He loves cutting in, and I'm like, just take the full back on. You're quicker than them. Get behind them. Get the ball in. He's just not doing it, bro. He's good at dead balls at the moment. That's the positive I'd say on him. But he's frustrating me. That will be our back four. There was question marks over Einar being fit, but reports are now saying he's trained and he'll be back. I think Yates is the one I always worry about. Fan base love him. I have my reservations about him. I love his passion and everything, but I just think he overplays sometimes the dives, the fouls, shithousery, all that stuff. He loves Forest. I love him, but quality-wise, I like him as a finisher. You know, if Forest are winning 1-0 up, I'd like him on 20 minutes to go to slow the game down, disrupt it. But creativity-wise, he's not quite there. And Morgan Gibbs-White is Morgan Gibbs-White. But if I'm being objective about him, I don't think he's been as good this season. He's had a couple of knocks. I think he's going to come back into form. I have no doubts in him whatsoever. And when you watch him playing with England, when he played, I think it was against Ireland, I can't remember who got his debut against, not this international break, the one before, you could see the way he was linking up with attacking players. I sometimes feel he would do better in an Arsenal team or in a more attacking-minded team. but he hasn't been perfect. The one who's really impressed me is Elliot Anderson, but he's like been brilliant in the 8 and been brilliant in the 10. And I think he's giving Nuno a good headache because he doesn't know quite who to drop for him or how to start him and fit him in. So, you know, the team, that will be roughly the team. What I was hoping he would do what he did against Liverpool, where he went a 4-3-2-1. So he put Yates, Ward-Prowse, and who was the other one in there? I've gone back. Elliot Anderson. And then he had Dominguez and Morgan Gibbs-White in front, and he just gave Liverpool the width and said, right, break us down through the middle if you can. And they just couldn't do it. And then he brought Hudson-Odoi and Elanga on for the width when they tired out a bit and put him out wide. And then that was that, yeah. So it was a bit similar to that. Anderson, Ward-Prowse, and Yates played as a 3. And then Dominguez was playing more as the high presser. And then Elanga and Hudson-Odoi came on. And that's what caught Liverpool out. But we will see. We will see what Nuno does well.
Player I thought was gonna do really well for you, Wolf. That hasn't really is Ibrahim Sangare. I thought he was gonna be a beast for you, but he's not quite pushed on, has he? Like I really felt I saw him at Toulouse and then I see him at PSV, and I thought, this guy's gonna be brilliant, Sangare. And he hasn't really. Yeah, we were linked with him. He hasn't really.
Yes, Liverpool. He's been injured, Dan. He's been injured a lot.
Right.
He had. Last season, he was out for a long time. There's a big section of the Forest fan base that have given up on him. But like you said, I've seen him at Toulouse. I've seen him at in the Eredivisie. He was brilliant. And physically, he looks like he's built for it and everything. He had a really good preseason. And he had a really good start to the season this year. And then he pulled his hamstring. He's close to being back. But there's still a lot of Forest fans that have given up on him. But I agree with you. There's a beast in him. He just, for me, needs like a stretch of 3 or 4 months without injury, getting his rhythm, and he would do well because we are missing that 6, and he is that 6 for me. But there's not a lot of Forest fans sold on him. But because I've seen him before Forest days, I know what he can produce. So I'm with you. There's a player there.
No, you know what, Dan? I think it's time for you to tell us. Do you believe Arsenal's going to do it?
No, I think it's going to be a draw, bro.
Seriously?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a draw. I've said from now we're going to drop 2 games until the 1st of January, and I think it's going to be Forest and Fulham. They're the 2 that I think we're going to drop points on. I think this is going to be a draw. I think they're going to cause problems. I think we're going to potentially get complacent again and concede. We love conceding at the Emirates, man. We love conceding goals. I don't actually agree with that team, though. I think the team is going to be really interesting for me, actually, because I think Saka will start instead of Sterling, obviously, that the one you've played there. I actually think it will be Partey, Rice and Ødegaard if Timber and Calafiori are fit. If Calafiori's not fit, I think he might play bloody Partey at right back and Timber at left back and then have Rice, Marino, Ødegaard. That's what I think it might be if Calafiori's not fit, but I hope Calafiori is, so that we don't have to do that because Partey in the 6 is needed. But I think if Partey plays in the 6, I think it will be Rice and Ødegaard, not Marino and Ødegaard. Rice will play if he's fit, and apparently he is. So I think that's what the team will be. Look, we should win the game because we've got the better side out there, right? But at the moment, it's not about that. It's about the form of the team, and we ain't playing well enough, and Forest are playing well. And I think, if I'm honest with you, they're reminding me of Nuno's Wolves as opposed to what I was seeing back there. They look like. Do you remember when they had like that side and you thought, why is Matt Doherty like so good? That's what Ayana is right now. Like he is the Matt Doherty of this. And you've got Raul Jimenez, who is back then. Now it's Chris Wood. Like he's got the same sort of players in those positions of those days, you know. And in midfield, you know, they had the Ruben Neves as well. We know the team back then, and it's all starting to match up now for what he's got at Forest. So look, man, I'm a fan. I think it's going to be hard.
You're saying 1-1.
I'm saying 2-2. 2-2.
Wolfie, give me your score prediction, bro. What are you saying?
I'm confident we win. I think we win 1-0. I think if he goes for what I hope and goes for those tactics we did against Liverpool, and there is I mean, you guys, am I right in you haven't won since before the last international break? Is that a correct stat?
Correct.
Yeah. I just feel that there's going to be pressure at home for you guys to perform beyond the front foot because you need a performance and points. And I think that plays into our hands. If he's a bit more methodical about it and the fans are patient on the day, then you should win. But I just think Nuno tactically, apart from 2 games this season, has been absolutely spot on. And I just think we hold you to maybe the 60th minute, and then we get our goal, and then Milenkovic and Murillo do their thing and hold on to a 1-0 result. Because every game, apart from the game that I went, a 5-0 drubbing at the start of the previous season, there's only been a goal in it either way.
Yeah,
it's going to be tight. We haven't got anything
No
out of you
clean
from the
sheets, I'll
Emirates.
tell you that. Wolfie,
No clean sheets, yeah.
so what's your score again?
We had one at the City Ground against you.
No, what's the score going to be?
1-0 Forest. 1-0 Forest.
Oof, you're saying you're going to get a clean sheet. Arsenal's going to score in this game. It's going to be cagey. It's going to be a tight game. But I do give us a slight victory. We're at home, coming off of international break. No tired legs, no excuses. We're at home. We should be taking the game to you. And I need to see a better performance. Even though it's going to be a tight game, the key thing I'm going to be looking for is the performance. Offensively, how we link up play, how we hold on to the possession, and how we recycle the ball to try to stifle you from getting your quick counters when you do receive the ball. And yeah, I'm going to go with a 2-1 Arsenal victory. I can't go for a loss. We need this win, and these guys need to show the urgency. But I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. I got my son I got to go deal with. But thank you, Wolfie. Thank you, Dan, for joining me. Appreciate it. And big up to everyone in the chat. I'll be live again at 8 o'clock. Wolfie, you going to be live later today?
No. I got the kids to sort out. I'll
There
be
you go.
live there. I'm doing the
then
watch.
Dan, what about you? You going to be live later today?
7 p.m. live, man. 7 p.m. live. So join me over there.
Go.
Man, big
You
up.
can go check out Dan's channel and then come to mine after. Anyways, we're out of here, people. I'm going to chill. We're almost done. Have a good one.
Love.
Bye, guys.